When Lu Jingxi pushed the breakup agreement in front of me, the whole dining table fell silent. His new girlfriend, Ju Mingyang, was the one entwining his arm, smiling and saying, "Miss Lin, Jingxi will soon enter the real aristocratic circle. If you cling to him then, it won't be decent." I didn't cry, nor did I argue. I only took off the engagement ring, placed it beside the agreement, and casually opened my phone to back up all the transfer records showing the money he had borrowed from me. Over the past 6 years, the restaurant Lu Jingxi chose was very expensive. We had been in love for 6 years, and he rarely brought me to places like this. He said tonight was an anniversary, and he owed me an explanation. I thought that explanation would be the wedding date that was 2 years overdue, but within 10 minutes of sitting down, he slid a breakup agreement in front of me. The paper was very thin, it fell on the white tablecloth, but it felt like a slap in the face. Around them were his friends, his partner, and his mother. They all looked at me. No one was surprised. That is to say, they already knew. I was the only one who looked like a joke. Lu Jingxi wore a newly tailored suit, the cufflinks dazzlingly bright. That pair of cufflinks was bought with 3 months of my bonus saved last year for him. Back then he said, "Zai, once the company is more stable, I will give you a home." Now he says, "Lin Zai, we are not suitable for each other." I looked at him. Where is it? Inappropriate. Lu Jingxi frowned, as if he thought I was being lacking in tact. "Don't make me feel embarrassed." The woman sitting beside him smiled softly. Her name is Ju Mingyang, the only daughter of the Ju family. I have met her once at Lu Jingxi's company party. She stood in the center of the crowd, wearing a silver long dress and surrounded by a circle of people. That day, Lu Jingxi told me that she is only the daughter of a potential investor. Now her hand rested on Lu Jingxi's hand, a pose so natural it seemed she had practiced it many times before. Ju Mingyang said, "Miss Lin, when it comes to feelings, forcing it is pointless. Jingxi will aim higher in the future. You can't provide him with those resources." Someone lowered their head and smiled. Lu's mother cleared her throat. "You know what I mean. Auntie knows you've kept company with Jingxi for years, but people also need to be practical. Mingyan's family can help Jingxi get funding and can bring him into a better circle. You, an ordinary girl, dragging him along, aren't being fair." An ordinary girl, these 4 words, I've heard for many years. I take the subway to work, buy basic clothes, and live with Lu Jingxi in an old community. During the early days of his entrepreneurship, he had no money, and I ate convenience store meals with him for 3 months. When he fell ill and had a fever of 40 degrees, I took leave to take him to the hospital. His mother's spinal surgery required a hospitalization deposit, which I covered. Over the years, I have never used the she. I won't use my family name to pressure anyone, because I've always believed that if love has to rely on status to be maintained, then it is already ruined. But I didn't expect that the identity I hid would eventually become the reason for them to mock me. Lu Jingxi pushed the agreement forward. "The house is rented by me. You should move out in the next couple of days. The things I gave you before, you can keep. As for everything else, let's part on good terms." I took a look at the agreement. It says above, the 2 parties have no common property disputes. I almost laughed out loud. The rent deposit was paid by me. 1/3 of his startup capital came from me. All the major furniture in the house was bought by me. The medical expenses for his mother's hospitalization have not been repaid to this day. Now he casually says there is no joint property dispute and wants to wipe out 6 years of my efforts in one stroke. I picked up the agreement, not signing it, just folded it neatly and put it into my bag. Lu Jingxi's expression darkened. "What do you mean?" I took off the ring. "The ring is a little tight." When I took it off, a white mark was left on my finger from the pressure. I didn't rub it. I put the ring on the table. The silver, white small circle rolled halfway and stopped beside the wine glass. "You mean, return the ring to you, and I'll take the agreement to read it carefully." Lu's mother frowned immediately. "Don't try to cheat me out of money." I looked up at her. "Auntie, don't worry. The person who should. What needs to be handled will be handled. I will figure it all out." She was choked by my words. Ju Mingyan's smile faded. Lu Jingxi fixed his gaze on me and lowered his voice. "Shi, don't mess around. You know I hate women clinging to me the most." I put my phone into my bag. I had already photographed the agreement on the table, the people present, and the time and place while they were talking just now. Not to salvage, but to cut losses. I stood up. The chair slid across the floor with a soft sound. All eyes at the table followed me. Lu Jingsha thought I would cry, Ju Mingyang thought I would beg, Lu's mother thought I would make a scene. I just picked up my coat and calmly said, "May you all be locked in." Someone couldn't help but burst out laughing. Lu Jingxi's face grew even paler. I turned and headed outside. Just as I reached the doorway, my phone buzzed. It was a message from Uncle Chen. "Miss, the chairman asked me to remind you that the invitation to next week's Shan Charity Gala has been delivered to your apartment. The chairman says, this time, he hopes you won't be absent again." I stopped in my tracks. My face was reflected on the glass door, very pale, but my eyes were clear. I replied with 2 characters. "Got it." Behind me, Ju Mingyang softly asked Lu Jingxi, "She really won't go make trouble, will she?" Lu Jingxi sneered, "She doesn't dare, she can't live without me." I pushed the door open. When the night wind blew, I suddenly felt my fingers become much lighter. So removing a decayed relationship, the relationship isn't as painful as I imagined. I woke up very early the next morning at 7. Lu Jingxi hadn't come back. He should have stayed at Ju Mingyan's place last night. In the past, I would have sent him a message to ask if he had drunk too much, whether his stomach hurt, and where the materials for tomorrow's meeting were. This time, I didn't. I opened the mobile banking app. The first thing I did was halt the 50,000 yuan automatically transferred to that company's account each month. The note clearly states, project turnover, Lu Jingxi's personal loan. The second thing was cancelling the living allowance for Lu's mother. It was 8,000 per month. Lu's mother has always said that the money was Lu Jingxi's filial piety to her, but for the past 2 years, Lu Jingxi's company has been unstable, and that money has been deducted from my card. The third thing, I opened a document. The name is Lu Jingxi's account records. This is something I started recording from the 3rd year. It wasn't that I intended to scheme against him from the beginning, it's just that back then he always said, "Understand my situation, cover for me first, and when the financing comes through, I'll pay you back." I feared that he would forget, and I also feared that I would forget. I didn't expect that in the end. It was me from back then, once still soft-hearted but not completely stupid, who saved me at 9. In the morning, the door lock rang. "Mother Lu is here. She has our family's spare key." Before, she would always say, "Since WW are family, you and I share things. Auntie will come to bring you a few dishes," but the dishes she brings, in the end, I end up washing and cooking. I stand in the living room, watching her push the door open. Behind her is Lu Jingxi's cousin. The two of them hold a few empty bags. Lu's mother blinked when she saw me. "How come you haven't gone to work yet?" I said, "I'm taking today off to move things." A satisfied expression appeared on Lu's mother's face. "Good to know you're moving. Jingxi I told me last night that in the future, Mingyang will occasionally come here, so it's not convenient for you to stay." I look at her. "This is the contract I signed with the landlady." Lu's mother's face stiffened. "What do you mean?" I take out the contract. The tenant section has my name. The deposit and the first year's rent were transferred to the landlord by me. Lu Jingxi moved in later simply because he said the company is near here. Mother Lu skimmed the contract, and her voice immediately sharpened. "So what? You've been together for so many years. Isn't it normal for Jingxi to live here?" "It used to be." I pulled the spare key from her hand. "It's not now, Ms. Lu didn't expect me to act." Her face flushed red. "Lin Zai, you dare to snatch my keys." I correct her. "This is my key." Her cousin whispered beside me. "If you broke up and still occupy the house, how petty." I turned and walked into the bedroom, pulling out 3 suitcases. What was inside wasn't my stuff. These are Lu Jingxi's clothes, trophies, documents, and all the clutter he has piled up at my house all these years. I pushed the boxes to the door. "I've already sorted out his stuff. Have him come to pick it up before noon today." Lu's mother looked at those boxes, her expression growing increasingly ugly. She probably thought I would cry and beg her to persuade Lu Jingxi to come back, but I was just clearing the scene. She sneered, "Don't pretend to be so tough. After breaking up with Lu Jingxi, do you think you can find someone good? You're already 28. She had said these words before. Every time after saying them, Lu Jingxi would tell me to endure. He said, "My mom is stubborn but has a soft heart. Don't argue with the elders." Later, I understood many people are not stubborn in words but soft at heart. They just bully you into not daring to fight back. I opened the mobile transfer page to show her. "Auntie, starting this month, your living allowance will no longer be deducted from me." Lu's mother froze. "What living expenses?" In the past 24 months, 8,000 per month, a total of 192,000. There's also the 60,000 deposit for your lumbar spine surgery, and 24,000 for the caregiver. I've already sent the detailed breakdown to Lu Jingxi. That bit of arrogance on Lu's mother's face shattered. Isn't that the money Jingxi gave me? I said. No, her lips moved. My cousin didn't say anything either. The air was so quiet it was almost awkward at that moment. Lu Jingxi's phone rang. I answered. His VO the ice was sharp. Lin Zai. Did you stop the money flow from my company? I stood in the middle of the living room, watching Lu Mu's face slowly turn pale. We've already broken up. I have no obligation to keep my money flowing back to you. Lu Jingxi was silent for 2 seconds. Then she sneered. You've finally shown your true colors. You used to pretend to be so affectionate. Now you just want to pressure me with money to come back. Don't you? I didn't explain. I just said, Lu Jingxi, before 12 o'clock noon today, take your things away. If you're late, I'll have a moving company deliver them to your company's front desk. He asked, do you dare? I hung up. I used to be afraid he would get angry, afraid that he would think I was immature, afraid that he was too tired, afraid that his pressure was great, afraid that he didn't want me. Only now do I realize that what I should fear most is that I've kept pushing my own boundaries backward. The sound of the elevator comes from outside the door. Mother Lu finally comes to her senses. She points at me, her voice shaking. Lin Zai, don't you regret it? I open the door. Auntie. The one who should regret isn't me. When she walks out, her steps are a little unsteady. I close the door. The living room falls quiet. I look at the pot hose by the window. That was the first year Lu Jingxi started his business. He said once the company goes public, we'll move to a bigger house. The pot hose is still alive now, but the person has gone bad. At 11:50 in the morning, Lu Jingxi did not come. I called the moving company on time at 12:15. The moving crew carried his boxes into the elevator. I sent a message to the landlord requesting a lock change at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Lu Jingxi sent a text. Lin Zai, you really disgust me. I looked at that line of text, took a screenshot, and saved it. Then I dragged him into the Do Not Disturb list. Lu Jingxi's company is in the South City Science Park. I used to go there often. During the first 2 years after he started his business, the office had only 6 desks. When the heating broke in winter, I sat in the corner with my laptop, helping him revise the plan. He doesn't write roadshow scripts, I write them. He doesn't understand brand positioning, I help him research. He stayed up late and had a stomachache. I sent medicine. At that time, everyone in the company called me sister-in-law. Later, when Zhu Mingyang began to appear, they started calling me MS. Lin. Names were changing very quickly. People's hearts were the same. When I got to the company, the receptionist looked at me and clearly tensed up for a moment. Miss Lin, President Lu is in a meeting. I said, I'm not looking for him. I'm here to take my things. Your things. I nodded. The original early project plan, brand visual, manual, supplier liaison sheet, and my personal hard drive. The front desk didn't dare to stop me. She knows those things have always been in Lu Jingxi's office cabinet, because the company I had nowhere to store them back then, so I temporarily kept them there. I had just reached the office door when the door opened from the inside. Lu Jingxi stood behind the doorway. Zhu Mingyang sat on the sofa, turning through a document in her hand. Seeing me, she raised her eyebrows slightly. Miss Lin, why are you here again? I looked at Lu Jingxi. Give me my documents. Lu Jingxi stood at the door. When did company documents become yours? I didn't argue with him. I opened my phone and showed him the email records from that year. The sender was me. The time was 4 years ago. The attachment name was the complete plan. The recipient was Lu Jingxi. The body of the email clearly stated, Jingxi, this is my initial draft. Please keep my name attribution if it is used for any business collaboration in the future. Lu Jingxi's face changed for a moment. Zhu Mingyang saw it too. She let out a small laugh. Miss Lin, helping a couple out. Does it have to be so clear-cut? I looked at her. Since you are so generous, from now on you write for him for free. Zhu Mingyang's face turned cold. Lu Jingxi lowered his voice. You understand what I mean? Do you have to make such a scene? I asked in return. Is it me making trouble? Or do you intend to take something that isn't yours? There were already people outside the office watching. Lu Jingxi cared most about face. He gritted his teeth and stepped aside. Take it and hurry away. I went in and packed the hard drives, folders, and several handwritten drafts into my bag. One of the plans had been reprinted, and the cover was signed with Lu Jingxi. I picked it up and looked at it for 2 seconds. Lu Jingkai reached out to grab it. I stepped back a pace. "This one also needs to be taken away," he said. "This is the company's." I said, "This is my first draft revision. If you want to continue using it, okay, add your signature, or pay the licensing fee." He looked as if he had heard a joke. "Lindsay, are you crazy? Who do you think you are?" I didn't answer because soon someone will answer on my behalf because of these words. After leaving the company, I went straight to Tang Shu's law firm. Tang Shu was my college roommate. She knows everything about me and Lu Jingxia. She also knows my true identity. After she finished reading what I brought, she slammed the pen on the table in anger. "You should have dealt with him long ago." I smiled a little. I was reluctant before. And now, I export the messages, transfer records, ledgers, and contracts from my phone, item by item. Only now do I want to figure it out clearly. Tang Shu becomes serious. She organizes all the evidence according to the timeline. First category, shared living expenses, type 2, personal loans from Lu Jingxi, type 3, Lu Mu's medical and living expenses, type 4, the solutions and project support I provided for his company. Tang Shu said, "Money may not all be recovered, but at least it will shut him up. As for signature and infringement, if he continues to use your to seek funding, there it will be trouble for him later." I nod. "I don't want every penny back." Tang Shu looks at me. "So what do you want?" I say. "I want them to know that I am not the one who was discarded." Just as I finished the sentence, the phone rang. It was a stranger's number. I answered. Zhu Mingyan's voice came through. "Miss Lin, there is a small dinner party tonight. You should come." I said nothing. She continued, "After all, you and Jingxi have been together for so many years. I must give you a proper exit with some dignity." I almost laughed. "Dignity isn't given by others, it's something you take back yourself." I asked, "Address?" She reported the name of the club before hanging up. She deliberately added a sentence. "By the way, don't dress too shabbily. Tonight, the guests are all people of status." I looked at the phone screen. Tang Shu frowned. "Hongmen Banquet." I nodded. "It's also an opportunity." Before I went out in the evening, I received a text message from Lu Jingxi. "Know your place. Don't go make a fool of yourself. Ming Yang isn't someone you can compare yourself to." I also took a screenshot of this message. Then I took out a long black dress from the wardrobe. This dress was left by my mother. There are no exaggerated markings, but the cut is excellent. Uncle Chen once said this was Mrs. Shen's favorite one during her lifetime. I haven't worn it for a long time. Tonight, I want to wear it. The person in the mirror is very quiet. No more muddling. There wasn't any pleasing him either. I suddenly realized that Lu Jingxi doesn't want me. He just never really saw me. The Zhu family's private club is located on the hillside. The entrance was lined with luxury cars. When I got out of the car, the doorman glanced at me with a look of hesitation, probably because I didn't drive myself. I told the driver to park at the foot of the hill, and then I walked up. It's not to pretend to be poor. I just want to keep myself more alert. The lights in the club lobby are very bright. Zhu Mingyang stands under the crystal chandelier, like the hostess for tonight. She saw me and smiled softly. "Miss Lin, you really came." Lu Jingxi stood beside her. When he saw my dress, his gaze paused for a moment. It was very brief, but I noticed it. In the past, he always said I dressed too plainly and wasn't someone who could accompany him to formal occasions. Now that I'm standing here, he has become uncomfortable again. Zhu Mingyang walked over and affectionately linked her arm with Lu Jingxi's. "Jingxi says you used to have a good relationship, so I want to personally invite you to a meal to clear up things about the past." Her voice wasn't loud, but it was just loud enough for a few people nearby to hear. Some people's gazes toward me changed immediately. For example, the abandoned ordinary ex. This is probably the label she wants to attach to me. I didn't respond to her. I just looked at the name placard on the table. "My name is at the very end, near the serving area," Lu Jingxi whispered. "Take a seat." I asked, "Did you arrange this?" He avoided my gaze. Zhu Mingyang answered on his behalf. "Miss Lin, please don't take it to heart. There are many elders tonight, so the seating is indeed limited." I nodded. "It's okay. Position doesn't matter. What matters is who can still sit firmly in the end." After I sat down, I quickly realized His dinner wasn't simply to humiliate me. Father Ju arrived. He walked in with a few partners, his mouth constantly mentioning the Shun Group. The Shun Charity Foundation's gala next week is the most important event to enter this circle this year. As long as we can get a word from Chairman Shun, our Ju family's supply chain will be stable. I heard Chairman Shun's only daughter will also attend. That Miss Shun is very low-key and never makes public appearances. The cup in my hand paused slightly. So what they truly want to talk about tonight is the Shun family. Ju Mingyang smiled as she served dishes for Lu Jingxi. Jingxi, next week I'll take you to the Shun family banquet. Don't be nervous then, my dad will introduce you. A hint of excitement flashed across Lu Jingxi's face. He tried to restrain it, but I still saw it. So this was the reason he abandoned me. He didn't suddenly stop loving me, he does the math, an ordinary girlfriend who has endured hardships with him for 6 years. And a rich heiress who can bring him into the Shun family's dinner party. He chooses the latter, very reasonable, also quite disgusting. Halfway through the meal, Ju Mingyang suddenly looked at me. Miss Lin, what are your plans for the future? Do you want me to introduce a job for you? Our Ju family has several companies under its umbrella. An administrative position should be arrangeable. Someone at the table laughed. Aunt Lu is here too. Tonight she dressed very grandly, as if she had already become a relative of the Ju family. She immediately spoke. Mingyang is kind-hearted. Zai, you must thank her. She can still help you find a job after breaking up. This kind of vision isn't something ordinary people have. I put down my chopsticks. Thanks, no need. Ju Mingyang tilted her head. Are you still angry? I said. No, then why do you refuse? I looked at her. Because your Ju family's own supply chain isn't stable. There's no need to keep feeding me with promises. Silence settled on the table for a moment. Mr. Ju's face darkened. Miss Lin, you can't say things like that. I smiled. Sorry, I was too loud just now while you were talking. Ju Mingyang's gaze turned cold. Miss Lin, do you know who you're speaking to? This sentence sounds familiar. Lu Jingkai also said it. Who do you think you are? Do you know who I am? As if identity can turn a wrong word into a correct one. I picked up the bag. I have something else to do. I'll head off first. Lu Jingli turned and followed for 2 steps. Lin Zai. I stopped. He lowered his voice. You've been very rude today. I looked at him. Lu Jingkai, I used to accompany you to banquets, shield you from drinks, smooth things over for you. You said I knew my place. Now I won't let you trample on them, and you say I'm rude. His face stiffened. Do you have to talk like that? You started acting like this first. Ju Mingyang walked over. She handed me an invitation card. My engagement banquet with Jing Kai is next week. Miss Lin must go after all. Watching my ex do better with my own eyes can also be a kind of farewell. I took the invitation card. On the back of the invitation, the list of cooperative sponsors is printed. One line in small characters reads, Shun Charity Foundation Cooperative Dinner Linkage Recommendation Seat. I looked at it for 2 seconds. Ju Mingyang thought I was pricked. She smiled and said, What, haven't you seen it? I put the invitation card in my bag. Have you seen it? And I had seen it earlier than she had. When I walked out of the club, my phone rang. This time, it wasn't Uncle Chen. It was Father Shunhui Shan. After the call connected, he was quiet for a long time. Then he asked me, Zai, how much longer do you plan to hide? I stand in the night wind halfway up the mountain, and suddenly my nose feels sour, not because of Lu Jingxi. It's because I finally admit that I shouldn't have hidden myself all along just to prove that I deserve to be loved. I haven't returned to the old Shun family mansion for 3 years. When the car drove through the gate, the camphor trees on both sides were still the same as before. My mother loved trees. She said trees are quieter than flowers and last longer. But she left us far too soon. The year she died, I was 19. My father was busy dealing with the group's crisis and couldn't make it to her last lucid moment. Since then, our relationship has cooled. He gave me money, gave me a house, gave me all the resources. I didn't ask for any of it. I took my mother's surname, left the Shun family, and lived on my own. I thought this would prove that I am not a subordinate of Shunhui Shan. Later, I met Lu Jingsha. He was poor at that time too, wearing a washed-out shirt. He pitched his project at the school startup competition. Nobody in the audience believed him. Only I stayed behind to help him revise his plan. He asked me why I helped him. I said, because I know what it feels like to be looked down upon. Back then, I thought we were kindred spirits, now I think he never was. He doesn't hate class, he just hates not being on top himself. Uncle Chen is waiting for me at the door. When he saw me, his eyes reddened a little. Miss, you've lost weight. I smiled. Uncle Chen, you say that to me every time you see me, he whispered. The chairman always says that too. I didn't respond. Entering the living room, I saw my father sitting on the sofa. Shen Huaishan was already a little over 60. The outside world says he is cold and hard, and that he is the most difficult business magnate to approach, but what I see is only a man whose hair has turned very white. He looked at me and said after a moment, "Have you eaten?" This sentence is very ordinary, but I nearly burst into tears. "Have you eaten?" He nodded, then he asked the servant to bring a bowl of soup. "Have a little more." I sat down. The soup is the flavor my mother used to make. The hand holding the spoon paused for a moment. Father saw it, but didn't point it out. He simply picked. I picked up a document from the desk. "You must attend the dinner next week." I frowned. "Dad," he interrupted me. "This time it's not for the Shen family, it's for you yourself." I looked up. My father looked at me. "Uncle Chen told me you and the guy with the surname Lu split up." I forced a smile. "The news travels fast. He's not worthy of you." I muttered. "You said this 6 years ago." Father fell silent. 6 years ago, I brought home a photo of Lu Jingxi for the first time. Father glanced at it only once and said his eyes were too shifty, his heart unsteady. I was very angry. I felt that my father looked down on ordinary people, so I stayed with Lu Jingxi even more resolutely. Only now do I understand that my father does not look down on ordinary people. He had simply seen too many people who were eager to climb up, the father said. I opposed it back then, not because he was poor. I looked at him. Then what was the reason? Because when he looked at you, there was no pity, only calculation. That sentence was like a needle, puncturing the balloon I had been supporting for 6 years. I remember many details. I worked overtime until the early hours, and he only asked whether the plan was revised. I had a stomachache, and he asked me to pick up coffee for him on the way. I accompanied him to meet an investor, and when he introduced me, he only said a friend. He was never the way he became later. It's just that I have always been making excuses for him. My father pushed the black gold. It seems the text is incomplete here. An invitation letter lies in front of me. The Zhu family is seeking a collaboration with the Shen family recently. They will bring Lu Jingxi next week. I opened the guest list. Sure enough, I saw the names Lu Jingxi and Zhu Mingyang. Father said, "You can keep your identity private. You can also make it public. The decision is up to you." I traced along the edge of the invitation. If I go public, will it affect the Shen family? Father suddenly smiled. Understand this. You are my daughter, not a risk to the Shen family. I was stunned. He rarely spoke like this. Father continued, "For years, I have respected your low profile because you don't want your identity defined, but being low-key isn't a reason for others to trample on you." I lowered my head. After a long time, I said, "Dad, I blamed you before. I know, I blamed you for not being with Mom. I blame myself too." The living room quieted down. The wind blows through the leaves outside the window. I suddenly realized that some knots aren't undone by arguing. One day, you are so hurt by outsiders that you turn back and realize the door to home has been left ajar. I picked up the invitation. "I will attend the dinner." Father nodded. "In what capacity?" I looked at him. "Shen Ji, not Lin Ji, not Lu Jingxi's ex-girlfriend, not an ordinary girl in anyone's eyes. It's me." Before I left, my father had Uncle Chen take me. When I reached the door, he suddenly called me back. "Know what I mean?" I turned around. My father said, "Your mother used to say that you don't like winning in a way that seems too bad." I smiled a little. "This one might be unsightly." Father smiled as well. "Then it will be a bit more unsightly." The Lu family's banquet was an idea of Mother Lu's for me to attend. Her tone on the phone was firm. "Zai, regarding you and Jingxi, there must be a conclusion. You come once and settle the accounts clearly," she said. "To settle the accounts." So I went there. The place is at the Lu family's old house. In the past, during New Year and festivals, I often came here to cook. Mother Lu likes light and simple food. Father Lu likes soup. Lu Jingxi's cousins like to order dishes. Every time there is a full table of food, I'm the one who works from morning till night. After they finish eating, they praise me with a line like thoughtful and virtuous, and then leave the bowls for me to wash. Back then, I unexpectedly thought being accepted was a good thing. When I walked in today, The dining table was already full of people. Mother Lu sat at the head of the table. Lu Jingxi sat beside her, looking unhappy. Zhu Mingyang had come too. She wore a light-colored suit. As if to inspect public sentiment, Mother Lu looked at me, and the first thing she said was, "You actually dare to come here." I changed my shoes and went inside. "Didn't you tell me to come and settle the accounts?" Mother Lu sneered. "Yes, settle the accounts. You've been living in our Jinxi's house for so long, using his resources, and now that you two break up, you turn your back on him. Our Lu family doesn't owe. You can say anything." I nearly laughed. "Auntie, are you sure you want to say this in front of everyone?" Mother Lu slammed the table. "What's there not to say? You're just an ordinary girl who's been with Jing Ci for years. Isn't it because you saw he would achieve something? Now he's engaged to Ming Yang, and you feel uneasy. So you start bringing up those small amounts of money from the past." Small money. I opened the package and took out the ledger, a thick volume, a blue cover. "These are the records I noted bit by bit over the past 3 years. Lu Jingxi's face immediately changed. "Lin Zai, what are you bringing this for?" I looked at him. "Settle the score." I opened the first page. Item 1. The deposit for the South City apartment and 1 year's rent, totaling 216,000. The pair is me. Mother Lu's face stiffened. "That's your cohabitation. You did it voluntarily." I nodded. The second item. The start-up working capital for Lu Jingxi's company, 12 payments, totaling 1,380,000. Each payment has his WeChat message, saying loan, turnover, and to be repaid after financing. Lu Jingxi suddenly stood up. "Enough." I didn't stop. The third item is Aunt Lu's lumbar surgery deposit, caregiver fees, and rehabilitation costs, totaling 97,300. The fourth item is the renovation cost for the old Lu family house, 168,000, on the grounds that Uncle said the house was leaking, and Jinxi's account was frozen at that time. The gazes of those relatives at the dining table began to change. "Someone, are these all paid by Jidai?" The mother's face flushed. "Don't listen to her nonsense." I placed the printed transfer records on the table. Each transaction has a bank statement. Zhu Mingyang finally spoke up. "Miss Lin, doing this is pointless. During a relationship, both parties make sacrifices. How can you demand settlements after a breakup?" I looked at her. "Miss Zhu, if the person sitting here today were you, and they called you greedy for Lu Jingxi's money, would you present the evidence?" Zhu Mingyang was at a loss for words. Mother Lu grew anxious. "Hasn't Jingxi spent money on you all these years?" I flipped to the last page. "Yes. 3 birthday cakes, 5 bouquets, 1 necklace, totaling 13,400. I didn't miscalculate." The room fell completely silent. Lu Jingshi's face turned pale. He fears this kind of scene the most. Not afraid of owing money, afraid of others knowing that he owes me. I closed the ledger. "Auntie, today I'm not here to beg for favors. I'm here to inform you that I will handle these transactions through a lawyer. If you're willing to negotiate, that would be best. If not, it's okay." Lu's mother's voice was shrill. "You are going to ruin Jingxi." I looked at her. "I didn't ruin him. I just stopped covering up for his wrongdoings." Lu Jingxi suddenly rushed over and grabbed the ledger. "You've had enough." I didn't stop him because the ledger was only a copy. The original is with Tang Shu. He slammed the ledger onto the ground. "Lin Zai, are you satisfied now? You've made everyone see me as a joke. Are you happy now?" I bent down and picked up the ledger, patting the ashes off it. "Lu Jingxi, when you broke up with me in public, I was also a laughingstock." He was stunned. I looked at him and said, word by word, "From today onward, the joke is no longer mine alone." After saying that, I turned and walked outside. Behind me, Aunt Lu scolded me for being heartless. Zhu Mingyang comforted Lu Jingxi, but none of the relatives echoed her anymore. Going downstairs, I received a message from Tang Shu. "The lawsuit letter has been sent out." I replied with an okay. Just as I put the phone down, Lu Jingxi chased after me. He stood at the stairwell door, lowering his voice. "Lin Zai, aren't you going to hold your engagement banquet?" I looked at him. "Are you afraid I'll cause a scene?" He said. "Doing this now only makes me look down on you even more." I laughed. "Then you'd better keep looking down on me, because by the time he finally looked up to me, it would be too late." 3 days later, Lu Jingxi came to see me for the first time. It was raining that day. I had just come out of the foundation when I saw him standing at the door. He didn't bring an umbrella, the shoulders of his suit were damp in patches. I used to hate it when he was like this the most, as long as he frowned. My heart would soften. Now I just pulled the umbrella a bit closer to myself. Lu Jingxi looked at me, his voice hoarse. Zai, let's talk, I said. The lawyer will tell K to you. His face darkened. Are you really going to be this desperate? I walked around him. He reached out to stop me. The company is facing some funding issues. The Zhu family says the process will be delayed. You first restore the previous revolving loan, and I'll repay you after the engagement banquet. I watched him for a moment. I almost wanted to laugh. He isn't here to apologize, nor is he here to explain. He came to borrow money. Lu Jingxi, did you forget that we broke up? He irritably ran a hand through his hair. I know, but this is not a small matter. If the company goes bankrupt, the project will stop. You were the one who supported me the most before. You know how important this project is to me. Back then, I supported you because I thought we were family. He remained silent. I continued, now you have Miss Zhu, you should find her. Lu Jingxi's face darkened. Her family's finances are tight recently. It's not convenient. I nodded. So you thought of me to make things easier. He was stumped by my question. The sound of rain fell on the steps. He suddenly softened his tone. Ji, I admit that the way we broke up that day wasn't good, but you have to understand me too. I'm under too much pressure. What the Zhu family can give me isn't just money, but also connections. I asked, what about me? He looked at me. You are good, but you cannot give more. He spoke this sentence very honestly, honest to the point of cruelty. I nodded. Then you go find someone who can give it. He was upset. Do you have to be so sarcastic? I took out my phone and dialed Tang Shu's number. I'm downstairs at the foundation building. Lu Jingxi is stopping me. Lu Jingxi's expression changed. What are you doing? I looked at him. Protect myself. He flinched as if he had been pricked. Can you even protect yourself from me now? I asked again. Shouldn't I? Tang Shu came out quickly behind her. There were also security guards. Lu Jingxi finally stepped back before leaving. He stared at me and whispered, "You'll regret it." I didn't answer. In the evening I received a call from the landlord. The landlord said Lu Jing had contacted him asking if he could rent back the previous apartment. The landlord is in a difficult position. Miss Lin, he said he has lived in that house for a long time as well. I asked, has the contract expired? No, let it be. After hanging up the phone, I sent the landlord a confirmation of the lock change. Then we put up the old apartment for sublease. That place has carried for 6 years, but I don't want to go back anymore. The next day, a message from a mutual friend at the company came to me. Zai, Lu Jingxi's recent state is very poor. The project materials are in disarray and several investors are asking questions he can't answer. I looked at that sentence. There is no joy in my heart, only one delayed waking up. So it turned out that I had done so much in the past, yet they took it for granted when I withdrew my hand. Only then did he realize that many things were not inherently there. In the afternoon, Zhu Mingyang sent me the formal invitation to the engagement banquet. The caption is very short. Miss Lin, please come to witness. I replied, I will be there. She quickly sent back a smile as if victory was already certain. Then Lu Jingxi also sent a message. You'll just look worse if you come. I set my phone down on the table. Tang Shu looked up at me. Are you really going? I said, yes. As Shanzai's identity, I thought about it, not in a hurry. Tang Shu smiled. You're very unflappable. I look out the window. It's not that I'm unflappable. It's just that I no longer need to rush to prove myself with every single one of their humiliations. To prove such a thing, you have to pick the moment they're most proud. Only then will it be loud enough. The day before the engagement banquet, Tang Shu handed the evidence bag to me. The craft paper bag was very thick. Divides into 4 parts. First part, transfer records. Second part, loan messages. Third part, project proposal, original documents and email timeline. The fourth, Lu family expense details. Tang Shu said, it's enough. Even if we don't tear faces on the spot, it's enough for subsequent negotiations. I asked, what if he doesn't acknowledge it? Tang Shu leaned back against the chair. Then it'll be easier to handle. The less he recognizes, the uglier it will be. I looked down at the paper bag. These things are not formed in a day. Behind each page lies a moment when I was soft-hearted. I used to think that when you love someone you shouldn't count things too clearly. But in the end I understood that those who aren't counted clearly are often the ones who end up being calculated. In the afternoon I paid a visit to the old apartment. Most of the room has already been emptied, things of Lu Jingxi were moved out and the room looked strange and unfamiliar. There is also an old scarf in the entryway cabinet, grey. It is the one I knitted for him in my first winter. The pins are thick. He wore it to meet the investors at that time, and when he came back he held me and said, "Zai, you are my best luck." Later he bought many more expensive scarves. This one was left in the corner of the cabinet. I took it out and put it into a paper bag, for characters were written on the outside of the paper bag. Returned. At night I had the delivery Pasonto Lu Jingsha's company. 10 minutes later Lu Jingsha called. I didn't pick up. He messaged, "What do you mean?" I replied, "Your stuff." He sent again, "Know what you mean, do you have to clear everything from the past?" I looked at the screen. It had been a long time without a reply. He never understood that it wasn't me who wanted to wipe the past clean. He personally turned the past into garbage. At 8 o'clock in the evening, I returned to the Shen family old house. To try on the gown, my father prepared a deep blue long dress for me. There was no extravagant jewelry, only the shoulder line and waistline are extremely clean. Uncle Chen stood nearby. His eyes red again. "Miss looks like Madam in her younger days." I looked at myself in the mirror. After my mother passed away, I seldom heard anyone mention her because every time they did, my father would fall silent. This time, my father stood at the doorway and whispered, "If she could see this, she would be glad." I turned to look at him. "Dad, are you really going tomorrow?" "Of course. What if the scene doesn't look good?" The father said. "Then let it not look good." I laughed. This is the first time I've felt that Shen Huaishan is not a chairman standing aloof from the world. He is just a father who finally has a chance to back his daughter. At 11 o'clock in the evening, Lu Jingxi sent another message. "Don't come tomorrow. If you stop now, I can let your recent actions go." I finished reading and took a screenshot. Then I replied, "Lu Jingxi, you can't hold me responsible." He didn't reply again. Perhaps anger, perhaps unease. The next morning, Zhu Mingyang posted photos of the engagement banquet decor on her moments: flowers, crystal chandeliers, champagne tower. The caption reads, "Finally found the right person." Many people are sending blessings below. Lu Jingxi liked the post. I looked at that update and my heart felt very calm. If it were before, I would be so sad that I tremble. Now I only feel that the more beautifully this scene is staged, the louder the collapse will be. Before leaving, I open the drawer. Inside, there is the ring that was returned. Lu Jingxi did not take it away. I picked it up to take a look. 2 letters were engraved on the inner ring of the ring, L and Z, Lu Jingxi and Ge. I put it into the evidence bag's inner pocket. Not a memento, it is physical evidence. What he once promised should finally be settled together with his debts. The engagement banquet was at the most expensive hotel in Haicheng. When I arrived, a long red carpet stretched at the entrance. Zhu Mingyan's photo was placed in the reception area. Lu Jingxi stood beside her, smiling gently and decently. They look very well matched. One wants to climb higher. One wants to prove her discernment by having a man. When I walked into the hall, the hostess checked the name list. Then she hesitated and said, "Miss Lin, your seat is over here." She led me to the far corner, close to the speakers and the buffet area. I sit down. A few unfamiliar people nearby glanced at me and began to whisper, "Is she the former girlfriend of President Lu? She really came. Quite a strong mindset. Maybe he's just messing around." I lifted the water glass and took a sip. There was no mess. I'm not here to make a scene today. Making a scene will only give them more reasons to say I can't win. I want to let them fill the conversation themselves. After the banquet began, Mr. Zhu took the stage to speak. He praised Lu Jingsha highly, young and promising, with a bright future and a strong alliance with the Zhu family. Lu Jingsha stood in the audience, his eyes shining. He loved this feeling too much. Recognized by wealthy people, surrounded by applause, be called President Lu by others. Next, the host invites Lu Jingxi onto the stage. He held the microphone and looked at Zhu Mingyang. "Mingyang, thank you for appearing when I needed support the most." The applause rose. He continued, "In this life you meet many people. Some accompany you through a period of time, but they may not be suitable to walk with you to the end. A true partner should share the same values, circle, and future direction." When this sentence came out, many people instinctively looked at me. Zhu Mingyan's eyes carried a smile. Mrs. Lu sat at the head table, her back straight as a rod. I didn't dodge. I even let out a gentle laugh. Lu Jingke saw it, his expression stiffened a little. Perhaps he thought I would be embarrassed, but I just feel that after 6 years of relationship he finally called it a matter of mismatched circles. So ironic. After Zhu Mingyang took the stage, she hooked her arm around his. She said, I know Jingxi has had some immature relationships in the past, but it's okay, I don't mind. Everyone has to go through detours to know who is truly suitable for themselves. There are people applauding in the audience. I set down the water cup. So I wasn't the ex, I am the detour in their love story. Very good. My phone buzzed at this moment. Uncle Chen sent a message. Miss, the chairman is downstairs at the hotel. I respond. Proceed according to the procedure. A few minutes later there was a sudden commotion at the entrance of the banquet hall. Assistant rushed in, bending over to speak something softly into Ju Fu's ear. Ju Fu stood up abruptly. The smile on the face suddenly tightens with tension. The host is stunned too. Soon the hotel manager personally pushed open the door. A group of people walked in. The leader, dressed in a dark suit with snow-white hair, exuded a strong presence. The entire hall fell silent in an instant. Someone whispered in astonishment, Shen Huaishan, why is Chairman Shen here? Father Ju has already hurried up. Director Shen, you've come in person. Mingyang Jingxi, hurry and come down. Zhu Mingyan's smile stiffened. Luo Jingxi also obviously grew tense. He adjusted his tie, ready to go off the stage. I sat in the corner watching this scene. Many years ago I also considered taking him to meet his father. Back then I was afraid my father would look down on him. Only now do I realize that what should have frightened me wasn't my father looking down on him. It was him who could not bear the sight. Shen Huaishan didn't reach out his hand to Ju's father. His gaze swept across the crowded hall and landed on me. Then he walked toward me, step by step. All eyes followed him. Finally, my father stopped at my desk. His voice was not loud, but it was clear enough. Understand my meaning. Why sit here? The hall was so quiet that even the clinking of cups was gone. I stood up. Dad extended his hand to me. Go to the main table with Dad. At that moment, the color drained from Lu Jingxi's face quickly. Zhu Mingyan's hand was still hooked with his, but her fingertips had already stiffened. Mr. Ju stood in place, his mouth slightly open, as if he suddenly forgot what to say. The entire hall of guests were all looking at me. I put my hand into my father's palm. His palm was warm, as steady as when he used to hold my hand to cross the street when I was a child. Father led me toward the main table. Every time I take a step, someone automatically makes way. Lu's mother stood up. The expression on her face was very complicated, shocked, suspicious, panicked, and with a stubborn grit that refused to believe, she murmured, What's going on? Her father finally looked at her. Who are you? S lips trembled. No one introduces her. At this moment, she suddenly is no longer the lofty future mother-in-law. She is simply someone whose name cannot even be spoken in front of Shen Huaishan. Father Ju was the first to react. He walked up to me quickly, forcing a smile. Miss Shen, so you are a Miss Shen, daughter of Chairman Shen. What a misunderstanding, a huge misunderstanding. I looked at him. President Ju, we've met before. Mr. Ju's father paused. Have you seen it? At the club last night, you said that as long as we get Chairman Shen's word, the Ju family's supply chain will be secure. Mr. Ju's father's face instantly turned pale. Zhu Mingyang hurriedly walked off the stage. She looked at me, her voice tight. Lin Jiyi, isn't your family name Lin? I said, I've taken my mother's surname for a few years. She bit her lip. Did you deliberately lie to us? This is interesting. I live a low-profile life and that's a lie. She uses the Ju family's resources to recruit people to save face. I watch her. Miss Ju, I have never asked you for anything, nor have I approached you through my status. The person who has been deceiving you is not me, it is your own eyes. Lu Jingchen finally spoke. His voice was hoarse to the extreme. Know what I mean? He had only called out 2 words and could not go on. The father looked at him. Are you Lu Jingxi? Lu Jingxi instinctively straightened up. Director Shen, Father cut him off. Do you really not know who she is? That sentence slapped Lu Jingxi in the face. His lips trembled. I don't know. Ji has never said so. Father nodded. Since she didn't say it, you can publicly humiliate her. Lu Jingxi's face turned pale. No, I didn't. I took out the evidence bag from the bag, placed it on the main table. When the craft paper bag dropped, the sound wasn't loud, but it drew the attention of everyone around. I said, Lu Jingxi, today everyone is here, so I'll make some things clear. Zhu Mingyan's expression changed. Today is my engagement banquet with Jingxi. Do you have to ruin it? I looked at her. Miss Ju, you invited me here. She could not speak. I opened the first file. This is a record of the loans and financial turnovers that Lu Jingxi lent me over the past 6 years, totaling 1,380,000. Remarks, chat messages and bank statements are all included. Whispers began all around. Lu Jingxi hurriedly spoke up. That was our mutual contribution during our romance. Tang Shu stepped out from behind the crowd. She wears a professional suit, speaking in a calm tone. Mr. Lu, in your message you stated it was a loan, not a gift. Lu Jingli stares at her. Who are you? Tang Shu handed out a business card. Miss Shen's attorney, Mrs. Lu's legs went weak and she steadied herself against the back of the chair. I opened the second one. This is for Lu family medical, living and house renovation expenses. Aunt Lu may have been present just now as well. Previously you said I stole the Lu family's money. Lu's mother's face reddened as if burned by fire. Someone whispered, so the woman has been funding everything all along. That on stage just now about the circles not matching was too insulting. Now this is truly awkward. A vein jumped at Lu Jingxi's temple. You understand my meaning, do you have to do it this way? I looked at him. When you denied me in public, did you ask me if I wanted this? He froze. I continued to open the third one. This is the original document of his company's early plan, Lu Jingxi. The core brand plan you are now presenting externally was originally signed by me. You may continue to use it, but you must complete the authorization and attribution that are due. Dad Ju finally couldn't hold back and spoke up. Miss Shen, it's all about young people's complicated feelings. How about we talk privately? The father gave him a glance. Weren't you fond of speaking in public just now, Mr. Ju? Dad Ju's smile finally couldn't stay on his face. Ju Mingyan's eye sockets turned red. She grabbed Lu Jingxi. Jingxi, say something. Didn't you say she was just an ordinary girl? Didn't you say she couldn't live without you? Lu Jingxi seems to be pierced by that sentence. He looked at me, his gaze a complete mess. You understand my meaning? I really don't know. I interrupted him. You don't not know. He froze. I said word for word. You just don't care. If he cared, he would ask me why I never let him see my family. If he cared, he would remember how Uncle Chen lent me money a few times. If he cared, he would realize that I never ask him for money, yet I can always come up with money when he needs it most. If he cared, he wouldn't at least make my 6 years feel worthless when we broke up. He wasn't fooled. He was just too convinced of his own judgment that looked down on me. Father walked with me, turned to the hotel manager and said, "Move Miss Shen's seat to the main table." The manager nodded immediately. Lu Jingxi suddenly stepped forward. Knowing what you mean, can we have a private talk? I looked at him. No. And then I sat at the main table. Ju Mingyang stood on the ground beneath the stage, her face as pale as paper. The carefully prepared engagement banquet had finally become an open trial. The engagement banquet did not continue. The champagne tower was still lit. The music stopped. Guests drifted out in small groups. But no one really went far. Everyone is waiting for what comes next. Father Ju invited us to the hotel lounge. He originally intended to suppress the matter, but his father wouldn't give him that opportunity. Tang Shu laid the agreement on the table. Mr. Lu, regarding the loan and equity issues, we can confirm them on the spot or proceed through litigation, your choice. Lu Jingkai sat opposite, looking as if he had been drained of all energy half an hour ago. He was still the male lead of the engagement banquet. Now, he doesn't even have the courage to look at me. Ju Mingyang sat on the other side, her makeup a little smeared. She looked at Lu Jingxi, her voice cold. So you've been using her money to start a business? Lu Jingxi frowned. Mingyang, listen to my explanation. What do you mean by explain? Ju Mingyang stood up abruptly. You say her family is ordinary, that she would only drag you down. But in the end she is Shen Huaishan's daughter. Lu Jingxi, do you know how many people my father begged for the Shen family banquet? I listened quietly, so she wasn't angry about Lu Jingxi betraying the relationship. It was his misjudgment. Lu Jingxi finally saw this clearly. He let out a wretched smile. So being with you, is it only for resources? Ju Mingyang sneered. Or else what? Do you think I really like your little startup story? Mother Lu couldn't bear to listen anymore. Miss Ju, how can you talk about Jingxi like that? Ju Mingyang turned back. Auntie, don't pretend. Aren't you the one who loves rich families the most? Now you know who the real aristocracy is. Regret it. Lu's mother's face paled and flushed alternately. This scene is ugly, but I didn't feel any pleasure. There is only one completely ridiculous thing. After they tore off their dignity from each other, what remained was all scheming. Lu Jingxi suddenly looked up at me. Ji, I was wrong. I did not say a word. He stood up, walked around the table and stood in front of me. I was really wrong. I shouldn't have listened to my mother, shouldn't have been swayed by the Zhu family, and shouldn't have said those hurtful words. Mother Lu also spoke up. Understand the meaning. Auntie used to be bad at expressing herself. Don't take it to heart. You and Jingxi have had a relationship for so many years. It's not something that can be cut off just like that. I looked at her. It's amazing. A few hours ago, she still thought I wasn't good enough for Lu Jingxi. Now she starts talking about years of feelings. Lu Jingxi's eyes reddened. Zai, shall we start over? Why didn't you tell me sooner that you're from the Shen family? If I had known. I finally looked up. If you knew, you wouldn't abandon me. He nodded earnestly. Of course I wouldn't. I laughed. That's even more disgusting. He froze. I stood up. Lu Jingxi, what I want is not a man who will stay with me only because he knows I'm rich. What I want is someone who, even if I have nothing, won't trample me in the mud in public. His lips trembled. I can change. You won't change. I picked up the agreement on the table. You just found out you chose the wrong side. Tang Shu handed him the pen. Mr. Lu, sign it. Lu Jingxi looked at the agreement, hesitating to move. Father spoke up. Even if you don't sign, it's okay. Mr. Zhu's father immediately panicked. Mr. Lu, sign it. When a young person makes a mistake, they must take responsibility. Lu Jingxi looked at Father Zhu. That gaze contained anger, as well as shame, but he didn't have a choice. He signed, confirmed the loan, confirmed the subsequent repayment plan, confirmed stopping the use of unauthorized scheme signatures with EA. It seems the text is incomplete here. You may want to check and provide the full text if needed. After the page is signed, his face pales a little more. Mother Lu wipes away her tears by the side. This time, no one comforts her. After the agreement is signed, I place the ring on the table. Lu Jingxi looks at the ring, and his eyes suddenly shatter. Know what I mean? I say, this is also yours. It isn't valuable, but it represents a promise once made. Now the promise is void, and the item should be returned. He suddenly kneels down. Everyone in the lounge is stunned. Lu Jingxi grabs my wrist. Understand my meaning. Please, give me one more chance. I truly loved you. I look down at him. If it were a month ago, I might have fallen apart. If it were a year ago, I might have been soft-hearted. If it were 3 years ago, I might even find excuses for him. But now, I only feel my wrist being gripped painfully. I slowly pull my hand back. Lu Jingxi, the person you loved was not me. He stares at me dumbfounded. I say, what you loved was Lin Zai, who would always support you, always forgive you, and would never let you be put to shame. But that person was me, holding it together for the sake of loving you. Now she is dead. I turn and walk away. A cry from Mother Lu, Zhu Mingyan's quarrel, and Lu Jingxi's stifled sobs can be heard behind. I don't stop for a moment. When I reach the hotel door, my father catches up with me. He drapes his coat over my shoulders. Does it hurt? I nod, a little. My father doesn't say anything about not feeling hurt. He just says, then it will be uncomfortable. Sit at the table for a while, then go home to eat. My nose reddened. Okay. That night, Lu Jingxi chased to the gate of the Shen family old residence. He said he wanted to meet me. Uncle Chen asked me if I wanted to go out. I looked out the window. Outside the iron gate, Lu Jingxi stood under the streetlight, like the male lead in many idol dramas. But my story no longer needs him as the male lead. I said, no need. Then I pulled the curtains. Lu Jingxi stood at the gate of the Shen family all night. The next morning, Uncle Chen said that when he left, he looked very disheveled. I was having breakfast in the dining room. My father sat across from me, reading the financial newspaper. After he finished listening, he said softly, the security guards worked hard. Give them a bonus. I was almost choked by the porridge. My father glanced at me. How come? I shook my head. It's okay. This is the first time in many years that I have had breakfast at the Shen family. There is warm porridge, small dishes, and fried eggs on the table. They're all very ordinary things, but I eat very slowly, as if slowly making up for the stability that was missing in the past few years. After dinner, my father asked me what I wanted to do next. I said, back to the foundation. He frowned. Still want to keep a low profile? Not to keep a low profile. I said, it's that I like this job. My father looked at me for a moment, then nodded. Then do it. I smiled. I used to think my father was domineering. Now I realize that many times, he just couldn't express himself. A few days later, Lu Jingxi made the first repayment according to the agreement. The amount was not large, but the remark was written very clearly, returning the loan borrowed from Shenzai. I looked at it for a long time, not because of the money, but because my name had finally returned to its rightful place. Tang Shu told me that Lu Jingxi's company had stalled due to financing problems. The Zhu family quickly called off the engagement with him. Zhu Mingyang isn't doing well in the circle. She once publicly said I took the wrong path, and now that sentence is repeatedly brought up to mock me. Mother Lu has called me several times. I didn't pick up. Then she sent a long message, saying she had grown older, that in the past she did it for her son, and asking me to take into account that she used to call me auntie. Not to push Lu Jingxi too hard, I only replied with one line, "Please contact a lawyer," and then I blocked her. Lu Jingxi has sent many messages as well, from an apology, to an explanation, to missing the past, to a breakdown and questioning. The last one is, knowing your meaning. If I had known earlier that you are Shen Huaishan's daughter, would we not have come to this day? I looked at that sentence, and my heart unexpectedly felt calm. I replied to him, Lu Jingxi, the problem has never been that you knew too late, but that you loved too shallowly. Sent, blacklisted. The world finally fell quiet. A month later, the Shen Charity Foundation SA new project launch event was held. I took the stage as the project lead, not the daughter of Shen Huaishan nor the former lover of Lu Jingxi. I just Shen Zai. There were many media outlets in the audience. Father sat in the first row. Tang Shu sat beside him, signaling me with a thumbs up. I held the microphone, and I did not tremble while speaking. The project provides legal aid and career rebuilding support for women in distress. This idea has long been in my heart. Only before, I spent too much energy on Lu Jingxi, always thinking that once he stabilized, once we got married, once life got better, I would do the things I wanted to do. Only later did I understand, in a woman's life, the most indispensable thing is herself. After the press conference ended, a reporter asked me, Miss Shen, the public is very curious. Why have you always been so low-key before? I thought for a moment. Because I once believed that being loved without relying on status was a proof, the reporter pressed. And now, I smiled. Now I think that the people who truly love you don't need you to hide yourself. The ones who truly respect you won't despise you for being low-key. The audience was very quiet. My father looked at me, his eyes a little red. When I got home in the evening, I sorted through the photos on my old phone. I didn't delete the photos with Lu Jingxi in them all at once. I looked at them one by one and deleted them one by one. It's not that I can't bear to. I am the one who personally, he sent away the person who once believed in him. When everything was deleted, only a single photo remained. In the photo, it is me from 6 years ago. I am standing outside the university auditorium, holding a stack of plans, smiling brightly. That day, I hadn't yet encountered the later betrayal. I hadn't yet learned to take the blame for myself or to feel wronged for myself. I kept that photo because that was me before going to sleep. The father knocked on the door. He brought in a cup of hot milk. The gesture was a bit clumsy. Your mother used to say that drinking this before bed would help you sleep. I took the cup. Dad, let's eat more in the future. Father paused for a moment, then he nodded. Okay. After the door closed, I sat by the window. The white mark on my finger that was squeezed out by the ring is almost invisible now. I took out a new ring from the drawer, a very simple plain band, not given by anyone. I bought it myself. I wear it on my right index finger. It does not symbolize a commitment, it only represents boundaries. It also means that I have finally taken back control of my life.